Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name is Rednu, and I'm here to talk about the biggest Yu-Gi-Oh tournament you never heard of. So, the biggest Yu-Gi-Oh tournament you never heard of, what is it? Basically, it was Nijisanji's Master Duel Festival 2023. This is the YouTube thumbnail for the day 2 event. It was a 2-day tournament, and it was very, very interesting because not only was it heavily watched, and it was only marketed overseas as far as like to Japan and Eastern Asia. Not only was this the biggest Yu-Gi-Oh event that I've ever seen that nobody in the West would probably ever hear of, but it is actually a really cool event that was put together. It was sponsored officially by Konami, and it showcases a lot of stuff that I think shows why we like Yu-Gi-Oh, and also I think it's a good idea for us to implement some of the things here over in the West somehow. Maybe work with Konami, hopefully. What is the event? What is the event? So, just to give you a little bit of background, right? Nijisanji is a Japanese VTuber agency with around 180 active livers, not livers, livers, and this is a portion of them. This is just a portion of them. There's a lot of active VTubers for Nijisanji. Now, Nijisanji regularly hosts these high production in-house tourney events for other games as well, such as WBSC, Baseball Power Pros. You probably never heard of this game if you live in the West or Europe at all, but Baseball Power Pros. Power Pros is a very popular baseball game that is also made by Konami. And it's a huge event for Nijisanji. Every year, they basically, it's a baseball simulator. And so they dress up the characters as the VTubers themselves. And so they're able to kind of like emulate them playing on a baseball field and just act it out, and it's really fun. And they draft a team and everything. It's really, really cool. But either way, that's neither here nor there, but that's just a little bit of background for Nijisanji. Now, what was the event? So this is a screenshot taken 2 days after the event was streamed. If you can see over here, they have 847,000 views. 847,000 views, 735,000 views on day 1. And it was a huge spectacle. So many people loved it. There were a lot of concurrent viewers, and we're going to go over that. And this is not counting, by the way, every one of the streamers, almost every one of the streamers, streamed their own perspective, not only when playing the tournament, but at least one stream preparing for the tournament. And this is a Konami sponsored event. This event is just a huge ad space for Yu-Gi-Oh! And raising the awareness of Master Duel over in Eastern Asia. So this is another screenshot here. We have 41,000 views. 41,000 concurrent viewers. Now, we have a few other events to compare it to, okay? So this is the biggest Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament you never heard of. Was it the biggest, though, is the question. Was it the biggest watched event? Now, we have the WCS, right? You got 118,000 views for the finals, 213,000 for day 1. Day 2, you had 56,000, not that much. So anywhere between 50,000 to 200,000 views. This is for the World Championship, the Yu-Gi-Oh! WCS 2023, right? The biggest competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Event up until they get the next WCS, right? But what about Japan viewership? That's the TCG viewership. That's everyone in the West, in North America, South America, Europe. What else is there? Well, there's the Japan viewership. You have 232,000 views, 209,000 views, and 162,000 views. So what other events can we compare it to? Well, you probably saw when I scrolled down, but we also obviously have Ludwig's Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament. So Ludwig condensed his 6-hour tournament, his 6-hour event, into a 31-minute, very easily watchable YouTube video. So I feel like it's a little disproportionate to compare it to, a WCS, which is a huge live stream event, and this, which is also a huge live stream event. But that being said, right, it is probably the biggest Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament you've heard of. 1.8 million views, right? and 651,000 views on the stream. You also have, Charlie over here, Penguin Zoe, has 1.1 million views for his, not perspective necessarily, but an edited together YouTube video, I would assume, right? So this is, a crazy amount of viewership that is not open to like the global necessary market. Like, we don't have people in the West usually tuning into Nijisanji. There's no attempt at all to make this event watchable for English viewers or any other language besides Japanese. So overall, the viewership rankings, we have Ludwig's Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments, and we're looking at YouTube viewership rankings, just comparing apples to apples, right? Over 3.5 million views in the span of 11 months when you combine all of the total. For Master Duel Festival, this is Nijisanji's 1.5 million views in the span of 2 days. And then you have the Yu-Gi-Oh! WCS 2023, over 987,000 views in the span of 3 months. So, there's a large gap. There is a huge gap between Nijisanji's tournament and the WCS, which I think is pretty crazy. I think any event that basically tops the view count of the World Championship Series, the most competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Event until the next one comes around, I feel like that's insane. Okay, so what is this tournament and how did it work? Well, this tournament was a Nijisanji tournament, and it is only played with Nijisanji VTubers, but how the tournament worked was very interesting, and because it is a Konami-sponsored event, I think it was really cool how Konami kind of furnished and provided a lot of the assets used for the tournament, including accounts. So this tournament was split up into 2 days, and this is the day one groupings. So day one, you have a round robin stage where all the VTubers would be split up into 4 groups. And so depending on how well they do, that would affect how they placed into the final bracket on day 2. So Group A over here has 2 of these blue plates and 2 of these green plates. And that's the same thing for all the groups. Now, the blue plates, what it says is Jukudensha. Jukudensha means expert. And in this context, by the way, expert, they're talking about within the confines of Nijisanji. When I was live viewing this tournament, we had a couple of people come in and say how they would wipe the floor with these experts. Nobody cares. Nobody cares how you would wipe the floor with these experts. They're experts within the context of Nijisanji. They're more experienced players within the context of Nijisanji. They play Yu-Gi-Oh! They've had more experiences with Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's going to affect what they're able to do, as we'll talk about. Now, the green players, right, are known as the Keikensha. Keikensha means experienced players, but in this context, they're more like adepts. They're not as experienced as the experts, right? So every group had 2 experts and 2 non-experts, 2 adepts. So there are a total of 8 experts and 8 adept players. Now, the really cool thing is that the adept players were allowed 1 copy of Pot of Greed in their deck, which is cool. And also on theme, because the grand prize in this tournament is the Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG Duel Monsters pot collection, the pot collection, which essentially included like a quarter century secret rare copy of Pot of Greed and all these little pot figurines, right? So it's on theme for the event. The adept players get to play with a copy of Pot of Greed just to kind of even out the playing field, which I think is really cool. Now, a really cool way that they evened out the playing field as well. Not only did they give the adept players 1 copy of Pot of Greed, but this tournament was a sealed tournament, and it was done with the help of Konami because they were officially sponsoring it, and they also were able apparently to furnish accounts for it. So this was a sealed format with special rules, a sealed format of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, if you only play Yu-Gi-Oh! And you don't play any other card games, chances are you don't know what sealed means. Sealed means, in the context of other card games, usually what it means is, let's say you're talking about Magic, you would open maybe 8 booster packs, and you would have to make a deck with those 8 booster packs, right? I don't know exact number of the booster packs, so don't get caught up in the details, but basically a set number of amount of booster packs, and everyone in the tournament also had that same number of booster packs, and they were supposed to make the best deck they could with those booster packs. That's what sealed is in a nutshell. So basically, every player is going to have and be given a limited amount of resources, though they would be all given the same amount of resources. And that exactly is what sealed is, and that's why sealed format is a limited format. Now, in this context, in the context of the Nijisanji Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel Festival, this was the distribution. This is what each participant was given. Each participant was given a fresh account with one structure deck. And the really cool, interesting thing is that they weren't just Master Duel structure decks, but they were OCG structure decks too. Now, we'll cover an example later on, but what else were they given? They were also given 16,500 gems, with a few limitations on how they could spend those gems. You cannot buy a gold pass, you cannot buy other structure decks, you cannot redeem legacy packs, you cannot redeem gems from missions, and you can redeem the gems and cards from these solo stages. Now, obviously, how they were able to keep it all together, make sure that everyone's following the rules is, first of all, this is an in-house, in-company tournament, and all the streamers were supposed to stream the day that they prepared and made the accounts and bought things with their gems. So that's how they were able to keep everyone honest. Now, what else you have over here is 60 UR crafting points and 90 SR crafting points, which is whatever. You have 2 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring given to everyone. You have 3 copies of Maxi given to everyone, so they already know, like, the Maxi minigame. And you have 2 copies of Call by the Grave given to everyone, and 1 copy of Pot of Greed were given to the adepts. They didn't need to craft these cards. You were only given 2 copies of Ash Blossom because there is a Master Duel bundle with 1 copy of Ash Blossom, right? With the 10 booster packs, which is also just very cost efficient to buy. Now let's go over an example here, right? So these are screenshots that I took from Shu Yamino's stream. Now, Shu was given a structure deck by Konami, this free account. You can see that he only has 60 UR crafting points, he only has 90 SR crafting points, and this was the structure deck he was given. Or maybe he took it from a lottery, I don't know. But what it is you can't read it, it's the Rebirth of Shadol deck. And Rebirth of Shadol is a OCG structure deck, actually. And this is card for card, all the cards that they were given. And along with the structure deck, he was also given what was included in the enhancement pack. The enhancement pack, contrary to what it sounds like, it's not a booster pack. It is just like some more extra deck cards. Apkalone, you have Winda, El Shadol Construct. These are like standard staples in the Shadol archetype. Along with the Rebirth of Shadol structure deck and the enhancement pack, he was also given his distribution of the other cards. 3 copies of Maxio, you can see over here, 2 copies of Ash Blossom, you have 1 copy of Pot of Greed, and you have 2 copies of Call by the Grave. And if you guys notice, Instant Fusion was included in the structure deck. He was not able to play that. That was he had to cut that out because it is banned in Master Duel format. So they have to play with the standard Master Duel format as of the November 8th Forbidden and Limited list. So that's what they have over here. Everything from that OCG structure deck is here. Every part of the distribution he was given, outside of the gems, like the cards, were given in this deck. This account was furnished by Konami, which is really cool. Now, these are the gems that he was given. It was put into the mailbox of this account, 8,700 gems. So with those gems, again, he was able to purchase packs, essentially. He was able to purchase packs, and whatever he can obtain from those packs, he was able to strengthen the structure deck or play with some other cards. So we'll take a look at that. Now, each participant can use one of 3 different deck types when playing in this tournament. So each deck, again, must adhere to the November 8th Forbidden Limited list, except for the Adepts. The Adepts get to play with 1 Pot of Greed. Now, what are the 3 types of decks? Well, the first type is an improved structure deck. So this is, like for Shu Yamino's case, he was able to take out some cards, put in more copies of cards with the packs that he bought with the gems, and craft those cards in order to create the final version of this deck. This is the what he was given. This is not the final version of his deck, right? So that would be considered the improved structure deck. Everyone will have the improved structure deck, right? But there are two other decks you could use. The original deck, so the VTubers could use an original deck. This is basically made with everything else in the distribution. Everything else that's not the structure deck. So if you used your gems to buy a normal pack, secret pack, whatever, of something else totally not related to Shadows, that's fine. You can make it. And that would be considered an original deck. Now, the third type is the favorite deck. The favorite deck, which is also optional for all the VTubers, this is a familiar deck that was ported over to this account by the request of the VTubers. Now, the only limitation is that this deck can only be used once per day. So it's a 2-day tournament. You can only use your favorite deck, your strongest deck, your most meta deck, whatever. The VTubers can anyway, only once per day, which I think is really cool. And I think it's really cute. And I think this whole structure that they were able to play with Sealed Yugioh, that they were able to be given these fresh Master Duel accounts to do it, I think it's really fun, and I think it evens out the playing field, at least slightly, right? Obviously, the people who are more experienced are still more inclined to win, because Yu-Gi-Oh is a very, very knowledge heavy game. It makes it realistic that they have a possibility of winning, especially when the adepts are given like one copy of Pot of Greed. These were the VTubers and the decks that they played, and they played very well. They had a lot of combos and a lot of plays practiced, and they knew they had a very good idea of what they were doing. A lot of them did. And you have all these decks, all these different deck types. If you guys like these decks, definitely check out the VTubers. I think we have over here Yashiro Kizuku was a very standout player. He was very, very strong. He was able to pull off some amazing combos with Crystal Beast of all things. You have Matsukai Mao, who is an adept. She doesn't play Yu-Gi-Oh that much. She piloted the Black Wings deck, and I think she did very well. She actually had this one moment where she had to really think on her feet so that she could be able to survive a couple more turns against I think Harusaki Air. So watch their match if you haven't. You also have Kusaha. If you've heard of VTubers at all, you've probably heard of Kusaha, because Kusaha is the biggest male VTuber, period, right? So Kusaha, he's a big gamer, and he played Dark Magician plus other cards. He threw in the Kashtira engine, and he also threw in Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, which I think is really cool. Mashiro Meme played Heroes, and he also brought the Valence Lock deck as his favorite deck, which I think is really cool. Hanabatake Chaika brought a Raw OTK deck, and if you want an entertaining game, definitely check out any game played by Chaika, because his monologues are super entertaining. So what was the format? So the format, best of one for everything. They're not too big on best of threes over in the East. They do have best of threes in general in OCG, but best of one was for everything. This was for a showcase. This is a tournament, and the main job of it is to put on a show. Now, day one, you had the preliminary stage. Again, round robin round. That is all the VTubers split up into 4 different groups. You have 2 experts, 2 adepts. So the placings are determined by the number of wins, and then the ties are broken by the total accumulated life point differences across all games. So let's go over an example really quick. So this is the final scorecard for Group A. Group A has a 3-way tie, actually. They all played very well. You have Harusaki Air with 2 wins, and Kizuku 2 wins, and Mahiro with 2 wins, and Fumi, unfortunately, was not able to get a single win. Now, how they were able to place them? Well, Kizuku, when he finished off Fumi and Mahiro, he had more life points than had this many more life points than them when he finished them off, and so the accumulated sum is able to push him higher in the ranks, and he was able to place first within his group, Mahiro second, and Air, even though he got 2 wins, he didn't have a more commanding lead, and so he was only able to get a 3rd place. So that was how they broke the ties. Now, this is the day 2, and this is what they were playing day 1 for, is to place within the day 2 brackets. There's the losers bracket, and then it's the finals bracket. So how this worked was whoever placed 3rd in Group A went over here. Whoever placed 4th in Group C goes over here, etc., etc. And you have 2 of them who are able to come back for redemption. This is the final bracket. where you have whoever places second in A, whoever places first in C, whoever advances from the losers bracket comes here, and whoever advances from the losers bracket, the second person, right, whatever is over here, will be able to place over here. And this will be the total final bracket. Whoever wins will get the grand prize, as well as just bragging rights. It's an in-house tournament. So this was overall a really, really fun event. This was a really, really fun event because the VTubers got really into character. Let's go over some highlights. What's really cool about this is that the VTubers all bring their unique personalities into it, and they were all streaming their perspectives. So you were able to see their perspective, and not only that, but the VTubers were in a call with each other. If they were dueling with each other, then they were in a Discord call together. And so you have some really unhinged, like crazy moments from Chaika, who goes off on really characteristic Yu-Gi-Oh monologues. Kuzaha really feels the anime moments there, and it's all just really fun. You have also some touching moments where Mashiro Meme was teaching Mahiro how to play during the game, essentially, basically giving her a lot of tips and giving her a lot of help. So what we have here are a few highlights from it, and one of them is the ad space for the event. This was they had real life ads in Japan. I think this is probably like a metro or a mall, and they feature the VTubers in cool token cards with also some text that they submitted themselves for their profile, which I think is really cool. And it would be really cool if these were like actual cards, though I don't know for certain if they are. So if they are actual tokens, definitely let me know, because I would love to own a few copies of these. But either way, right? That was just some of the ad space for it. I'm not sure if the token cards are real. Here is one highlight. This is Hanabatake Chaika's insane OTK versus Hoshikawa Sada.
いいだろうならば真なる太陽神の効果を発動。
うわもう絶対違う。
敵からガーディアンスライムを手札に加えるぜ。
He gets Guardian Slime to his hand.
楽しくなってきたね。トレモラの効果発動。このカードを墓地に送ることにより手札からガーディアンスライムを特殊召喚するんだよ。
Okay. Special summons the Guardian Slime.
変形。
クソ楽しそう。どうしよう。
Tributes
ゴッドスライム。
for God Slime.
さらに墓地に送られたガーディアンスライムの効果発動。
もういいよ。
このカードを除外することにより敵からイニシエの呪文を手札に加える。
She's like, you're fine, you're good. I don't know what's going on.
絶対違うだろシモン。絶対適当だろそれ。
Chaika's literally doing the Merrick chant, or the Merrick.
俺のラーは真の力を手に入れる。
やめて。なんか奇跡を。
ゴッドスライムはモンスター3体分の生贄となる。現れろ。ラーの抑止流。
うわ待って聞いたことある。
俺とラーを融合する。
10,900.
バトルだ。ラーの抑止流。ゴッドブレイズキャノン。
He's just peeking out on the mic, shouting, chanting.
いや神の生贄にしてやるよ。
He was going absolutely nuts. Absolutely insane. So that was that, right? Really fun, really cute. Here we have Kuzaha. This is actually where he finishes off and plays against Chaika again. Chaika is very entertaining. You should watch some of his perspective streams. It's really cool.
Black Magician!
This is Kuzaha's perspective. Please stop. Please wait.
いや、なんかこれ算数の時間だぜ。3000プラス2500は5500。つまりあといくつだぜ。
5500。
足りてるぜ。バロー。
ああ、やめろ。
ダイレクトアタック。
こんなプレミで。
ブラック 知りたくない最後にクシャトリラマジシャンでとどめ
Chaika's death screams are so unhinged.
マジで。
They actually performed very well. They actually had really cool combos to pull off. So
そして金貨玉城発動。
金貨玉これ良くない魔法ですよ。
そう良くない魔法なんだ。だがもう遅い。
spell's not good for me, is it?
を場に持ってきて。
増えてるって。
ルビーカー
Carbuncle.
バンクル。墓地から特殊召喚。ルビーカーバンクルの効果で。
ルビーちゃん。
ルビーちゃん大暴れなんだよね。
ルビーちゃん3回仕事してる。
そう仕事しすぎ。
仕事
Dang.
しすぎだって。
そういうことだ。
そし
そしてて
みんながフィールドにね出てきましたね。
出てきた。そして3体でトライゲートウィザード。
Trigate Wizard?
トライゲ
I
ートウ
guess?
ィザ
I
ー
don't
ド
know
の
who
効
this
果を
one
説明
is.
すると、
はい。
3体で相互リンク状態だと1対に1の魔法トラップモンスターの効果を発動した時に無効にできる。2体以上の場合は1対に1のフィールドのカード1枚対象として破壊する。1体以上は、このカードと相互リンクしているモンスター、相手モンスターと戦闘を行う時に、ダメージを倍与えるっていう効果。
So he's explaining his effect to Fumi. Fumi is his opponent.
さらに増えるぜ。
まだ来るの
手札か
から
入れよ究極強国神レインボ
Which
ー
is
ド
a
ラゴン
total Yu-Gi-Oh anime thing to do.
何レインボードラゴン
そしてレインボードラゴンとトパーズタイガーでリンク召喚。
はあお
トロイメアフェニックスリンク召喚。
うわーリンク2だ。
そして、
はいはいはい。
特殊召喚させてもらうぞ。
こいつもまだなのか。
まだあるぜ。
何が来る。
What? He is clicking so many
めっ
things.
ちゃ除外し
そう
除
墓地から
外しす
除外しまくり。究極強国神レインボードラゴンオーバードライブ。
You got Rainbow Dragon Overdrive.
ちょっと
これで俺はターンエンド。
Now, I'm not too sure if there's an Omni negate, but that thing has 11,000 attack points, and he's obviously very happy and proud of himself. He was able to pull off this combo. This is pretty fun. They all played extremely, extremely well. And I definitely think if you're a fan of like Yu-Gi-Oh, if you're a fan of anime moments, definitely check out the tournament, check out their perspectives. I'll link the tournament and the broadcast in the description. You can actually, not only do they have the full broadcast, but in the description, they actually tag all the VTubers. So again, I definitely recommend checking out Chaika. He is a riot. He's very, very funny. He is very comedic, and he just gets so into character. Kusaha is a huge gamer. Hoshikawa Sada, really cute avatar. Mashido Meme is really cool. There's a lot of great VTubers. Oh, Yamino Shu is an English VTuber. So he is fluent in Japanese. That's why he's able to participate and talk with everyone in the tournament. But he's a Nijisanji EN member, and obviously he hangs out with a lot of the English-speaking members as well. So definitely check out Shu Yamino. We were also able to get really cool fan art. This is Hoshikawa Sada with Yu-Gi-Oh cards and a dual disc. You have Hayato over here, also with some Yu-Gi-Oh cards and a dual disc. You have Fumi over here with a really cool, really detailed illustration. Her with the dual disc and also like a really fit body. Damn. And then you also have a really cute illustration of Oliver Evans, who played his dinosaur deck for the tournament. So the last thing I wanted to cover are just some key takeaways that I feel like we could all learn from this event. I think what is really cool for sure is that this showcased exactly how far Konami was willing to go and willing to do to help put together this event. They were able to furnish fresh Master Duel accounts with a fixed amount of gems and also some select cards from OCG structure decks even that they're not even in Master Duel to sponsor this large-scale tournament and event so that they, that people could watch it. Number two, I feel like a lot less people care about Yu-Gi-Oh at a competitive level and are way more interested in its fun aspects. This is probably not like the biggest shocker, right? But I feel like it needs to be said, it needs to be reminded time and time again that people like Yu-Gi-Oh for its cool, flashy combos, their crazy anime moments, and also Duel Monsters nostalgia. I feel like Duel Monsters, I mean, clearly you could see with these dual discs, is obviously the most powerful, part of Yu-Gi-Oh's brand identity. The theatrics of it all, of the anime, is what drew a lot of people into Yu-Gi-Oh, and I think that is something that, you could clearly see a lot of people are interested in. And no one really cares. A lot less people care about Yu-Gi-Oh at a high competitive level. Just look at Ludwig's tournament. They featured content creators that were not very good at Yu-Gi-Oh, that didn't even know how to play before, entering the tournament. So this is definitely something I feel like a lot of people need to be reminded of over and over and over again. Finally, number 3, I would love it if sealed variants of Yu-Gi-Oh were available to both players, and I think it could be explored by content creators. I feel like Master Duel could have a sealed game mode or an event, and I think it could be a lot of fun and introduce deck building with limitations as a concept to Yu-Gi-Oh players. I know this is a foreign and scary concept to a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players because a lot of them just net deck, and anytime I mention backpack battles or team fight tactics, basically deck building games, they're not they cower away and hide. I feel like this could work in one of two ways. You can either have a large fixed gem entry fee, so like 10,000 gems. This is a little unrealistic, but let's just say, and that would kind of act as your wager. You will keep the cards that you bought with those gems, and that is the biggest perk for this type of game mode. You would buy whatever packs you want, and you can only make the decks with those cards that you open from those packs, right? And it will be kind of similar to like Shadowverse or Hearthstone Arena, where you have a number of wins that you could accumulate before you reach a certain number of losses. So can you get 10 wins before you get 3 losses, right? And prizes can be, distributed based off that. And you could earn back your entry fee, you could earn a portion back, whatever. You would also be able to earn packs and exclusive rewards, one or a few of these things. And another way this can work, and I feel like this is the more realistic way it can work, is this way, where you have a small gem entry fee, so let's say like 2,000 or something, and you'll be able to participate in a tournament, an event, or some kind of environment, essentially, where you're only able to play against other sealed decks. And that will give you a larger fixed amount of gems, but they're play gems. And the cards that you open from the packs that you buy from the play gems, they're not going to be that much. But you'll make a deck just like, what Sealed would want you to do. That's the format, right? You'll make a deck only with those cards that you purchase with those play gems. And from there, it'll work exactly how the previous game mode does, where you can accumulate a lot of wins, and you'll get prizes depending on how many wins you have before reaching like 2 or 3 losses, right? You'll be able to earn gems, packs, exclusive rewards from playing this event or alternate game mode. If Master Duel had something like this in Master Duel, I would definitely come back and play it. I think it would be a lot of fun. I think you would introduce a lot of variants to Yu-Gi-Oh's gameplay. You'll see a lot more decks that don't get to be normally seen, and you would actually be able to see dynamic gameplay. And, you would also introduce deck building as a skill and have variants be something that is managed skillfully. You could introduce that level of skill to Yu-Gi-Oh! And I feel like, there's so little variance in standard Master Duel ranked Yu-Gi-Oh! That something limited, this kind of sealed variant, could really, really make the game fun. And finally, I wanted to talk about how sealed tournaments from a content creator perspective is really nice. What it does is it helps even out the playing field for various skill levels. And also, it makes the event more watchable and dynamic, as opposed to predictable and boring, where you see the same meta decks fight each other over and over. Maybe you have 1 or 2 dark horses that happen to win the tournament, but majority of the decks you see are just, Pirelli, Kashtira, Dragon Link, Labyrinth, just the same old meta decks over and over, and you see the same combo lines, the same plays. For me, competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Is very, very boring, and I feel like these sealed formats can make the game a lot more watchable, a lot more dynamic, a lot more fun. It would be really cool to work with Konami to ensure fidelity and make sure that everyone's following and playing by the same rules, either by making this as a game mode or by just sponsoring the event and, you know, agreeing to furnish the accounts. But it's not totally necessary, and I don't think it's very likely. It's not necessary, it's not likely, and I feel like, you know, Western content creators could do this if they really, really wanted to. So that's pretty much what I feel about this event. I thought this was really, really fun. I thought it was really cool, and I feel like this is just something that pretty much any Western player even knows. It was even on their radar, and yet it's probably the second most watched event in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Let me know in the comments what you guys think. What type of content do you think you would like to see that is kind of like an offshoot or a variant of this? Because I feel like Sealed Yu-Gi-Oh! Is way more interesting than standard rank, and I feel like it could be a lot more watchable too, as content, as videos. Also, let me know if you enjoyed this video by liking and subscribing. I would very much appreciate it. And I think that's about it. Yeah. So I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Be safe. And yeah, you have a good one. Bye.